Yo, what the hell's up? Welcome back to Reviews with Jake, where I just got done watching Swallow. Swallow is the story about a young pregnant woman who feels overlooked, undervalued, ignored by her husband and her husband's pompous-ass family, and so she develops a strange addiction for eating and swallowing inedible objects for a thrill. I was put onto this movie on demand on Amazon by Kevin Smith on his podcast, who mentioned and was raving about this movie and how captivated it is. And I have to take his recommendations usually with a grain of salt because he loves just about everything. But this sounded really friggin' interesting. It's one of those movies that has just a simple premise, something that you could really just sum up the entire movie and its concept in one simple sentence. And that will cause like 40 follow-up questions from the person that you just said that sentence to because the idea is so absurd. For example, Raw, 2016. A vegetarian is forced to eat meat and then becomes a cannibal. The Human Centipede, 2009. A doctor stitches a group of people together in a line ass to mouth. Teeth, 2007. A girl has teeth in her hoo-ha. It's like anyone that grew up in the era that I did, where we had to suffer through videos like 2 Girls, 1 Cup, the Pain Olympics, cake farts, the absolutely insane videos that go viral because they're just that, just insane, absurd. We hate them, we really do, we hate them, but why? Why can't we look away? Why are we so intrigued by stuff like this? I can't explain it. I mean, just look at the poster for this movie. It is a marketing phenomenon. All you have is a close-up of a girl staring at a thumbtack and one word, swallow. That's it, and the two of these work so well together to get your intrigue brewing. You could swap out the word swallow for any other word in the English language, hell, any other sentence, and it would not brew as much curiosity in relation to this photo of a girl looking at a thumbtack as Swallow does. I mean, there's nothing else. On the flip side, you could swap out the image of the girl looking at the thumbtack for just about anything else, and you better choose wisely because people's minds are going to go in the wrong direction, but there's nothing more intriguing than these two working off each other. It is truly marketing genius, and I gotta admit, it reeled me in here. I do not know what that says about me, but I'll own whatever it is. But enough chit-chat. You're here to find out what it's like to watch a girl eat a bunch of strange things, right? Yeah, maybe we're not so different after all. Food for thought. The pros start with the cinematography. I loved a lot of the stuff they did with the framing and the compositions. Brilliantly helmed and put together, like everything was so meticulously assembled in the frame and everything had a purpose. It incorporated so many visual storytelling elements that you didn't need a bunch of dialogue to explain it. Like the visuals just did it for you. This movie does not start off with this girl who already has this addiction. She develops it in the first act, and a lot of that has very little dialogue, or at least dialogue that really explains why she's doing it. It does it all through visual storytelling, and you pick up on it and you follow along and you kind of get in her shoes without really needing any words. It really did captivate me for the first 30 minutes. A big component of that was the soundtrack. It had a really strangely comforting but odd soundtrack, which is so perfect for this movie because this girl that's so ignored and overlooked and treated like crap, she finds this strange comfort in eating these strange objects that she's not supposed to eat. I don't know, the music just married very well with the concept that we were working with here. On the note of this girl, the performance by Haley Bennett, who portrays her, she did an outstanding job. I mean, I don't think this movie would have started off as captivating and intriguing and curious as it was if she did not have a knock the ball out of the park performance, which she did. Seriously, I enjoyed the hell out of the first 30 minutes of this movie. I was so captivated, I just could not look away. However, that was really kind of short-lived in the long-term scope of the whole movie. Like, that was just the first act. The second and third act kind of loses steam a little bit. Like, the first act of this movie was when she was developing this strange addiction, and that was really interesting. But the second and third act, without dipping too much into spoilers, it diverts from that formula and dives into other territory that I didn't really care nearly as much about. The other big problem that I had with this movie were all the other characters besides our main character, the woman, the swallower. Everyone else in this movie besides her just felt more like plot devices than actual characters with any sort of value in themselves. No one had even an ounce of humanity. Everyone in this movie just treats this girl like crap. These are just terrible, terrible, terrible people. They have no redeeming qualities, which makes them impossible to believe that they were real. The best way I could describe them is kind of like a horror movie. Like, there's a bunch of people that are literally just there to get killed by Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, whoever it might be. They're literally just there to kind of be tools to get killed. Like, that's all they're there for, and that's all we want to see out of them. These characters in this movie were just there kind of in the opposite sense, that they're just there to make this girl swallow stuff. They're there to push her to the point that she feels the need to do this for comfort. The lack of humanity from all the other characters in this movie just makes it feel less real and that much more fabricated, way out of the realm of possibility and that much more of a work of fiction. And it's really in the second and third act of this movie, the other characters kind of start to come forward and play a bigger role. And I feel like that's a big part of why the second and third act just didn't really hit as strong as the first one did. And as a result, the ending was pretty unfulfilling, unsatisfying. But the first act was amazing. When I was watching the first 30 minutes of the movie, I'm like, this is going to be in my top 5. Like, for sure. I'm so engaged in this. Then the second and third happened, and I'm like, all in all, this is a well-made movie, very captivating, very interesting, very original. But it has its share of problems that make it take a few steps back. I'm going to give Swallow a B-. Now here's hoping that this quarantine ends sooner rather than later before I get bored and start eating stuff. Like this lens, it's been speaking to me. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on new reviews coming real soon. Stay safe and thanks for checking in.